Namaste, angels. This is the weekly general reading for the period of Sunday, September 26th through Saturday to come, October 2nd, Guardian Angels Day. We're going to start with the dice and sex, which is kind of weird to say after Guardian Angels or angels, period. Email and spend money. Also 29, so spiritual partnership. Spirit still says spend money. No. And massage. With the cards, very nice cards, we are starting with the Six of Wands, which is about success, victory, name recognition, you being singled out, awards, rewards, honors and different things. And the Knight of Cups. So together, this could be like somebody finally being successful in an emotional, something that makes them feel like emotionally fulfilled, emotionally happy. It could definitely be connected to romance. So maybe somebody that couldn't muster up the guts, for lack of a better word, to move forward somehow. They finally do. So this is them like marching in, victoriously after feeling somewhat beaten down in the past. That person may be an actual Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, or someone like into those traits or attributes, a Knight of Pentacles, or perhaps they are, in fact, a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, a Knight of Cups themselves. If this is like having nothing to do with romance or love, this could be you feeling really good about, again, being successful, being recognized, being honored in some way. And maybe it was hard getting there. So it could be like, say, for example, something having to do with school. I know this is not really graduation time for many, if any, but it could be something like that, like having a really rough time going through school, but continuing to push on and, succeeding, just feeling really good about it and then winning. Or, maybe at work. Working against the odds, getting a bonus, getting a raise, getting a promotion, being hired for a job, that you tried really hard to get. You worked really hard at getting. Maybe you had to go to school and all that kind of stuff. So that can be what this represents. And again, with the Angel Tarot, this is the Angel and Animal Tarots combined. It's two decks of cards together. We're starting with Major Arcana card 0, which is the Dreamer or the Fool, all about a brand new start, a leap of faith. So, just jumping out at something that, an opportunity that's been presented, for you. A leap of faith, follow your dreams, because that can lead to unexpected opportunities. And it's something that you were probably either right now you are, or in the recent past you were afraid to do, just really feeling like I'm not able to make a jump like that. I'm not able to make a leap like that. Taking that job means, I'm going to have to travel. So that means I'm going to have to, get a car or ride a bike or whatever. Like, can I do that? Can I afford that? Getting into that relationship means I'm going to have to change my friends or whatever. Can I do that? Can I afford it? Or I'm going to have to leave the toxic relationship that I'm in. Can I do that? We split bills together. I don't know if I can afford it. It's all that kind of stuff. Some kind of fear that you allowed to turn into like a fake prison, really, something that's holding you back and keeping you in a situation that sucks. You may feel that you're trapped in your situation, but that's not true. Be careful not to overly focus on material wealth and break free of negative thinking. Major Arcana card 15, Ego, is actually the devil in the traditional tarot. Represents the sign of Capricorn most directly. The Dreamer, it's funny, in this deck, and I've had many copies of this deck when I let them get, worn and beaten up, and then I replaced them with the same deck. And it's this deck from the first day that I ever opened the first pack that I ever had. This card felt like the planet Mercury to me, and I can't explain what that means. It just feels like the planet Mercury. So it has always represented for me the planet Mercury and the signs of Gemini and Virgo, which Mercury rules. Mercury actually goes retrograde this week, so that may be a reason why we're starting with this card, the Dreamer or the Fool, and perhaps a reason why it's also attached here or showing up with immediately behind it the Devil, because it's Mercury, but sort of with that pull of reverse. And because Mercury is going retrograde in the sign of Libra, which is ruled by Venus and is all about like balance, but also love, money, and these things in those kind of areas could be where you're feeling stuck, where you're feeling trapped, where you're feeling like you're having difficulty, moving freely about the cabin because of Mercury retrograde, especially if you are yourself a Gemini or Virgo or Aries or Libra in particular. And I'll go into that a little bit more at the end of the reading for those who want to stick around for what's going on this week. And then I skipped over the fortune teller cards. We're starting with patience. Slow down, change your attitude, and clear your mind. Behind that, also upright, is Cracker. Positive energy surrounds you. Love, joy, and good fortune await. The Star. Hard times are over. So that sort of is in line with the Nine of Wands and the Devil that we've seen, leading up to the Six of Wands and the Fool. Look forward to an abundance of happiness, enthusiasm, and positivity. But then the last card that's up right behind those is Beware. Be careful who you trust at this time. So still maybe some reason or cause for concern, and maybe reason why we're feeling, on the defensive, or like we have to keep pushing, like something's fighting against us, something's holding us back. Just be aware that that energy is potentially around and that you need to combat it with, with your more positive energy, because there are some winds ahead for you that would like to come through. Mercury retrograde also just revealed the Three of Swords, right? And he's another Fool, has a way of bringing back people from our past, exes and stuff, like whether we're interested in seeing them again or not. And again, this one in Libra, because it's in Libra, could bring back people attached to relationships where there's something that still needs to be, how do you say, like a door that still needs to be closed, or the relationship, it needs closure. The people need closure. There's something that's unsaid or undone that has to happen that will then allow everybody to move forward. Why am I cutting again? The King of Cups is our overall energy. King of Cups, it's Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Very, very romantic, loving card, generous energy, humanitarian, shares, wants to help, wants to make people feel good. Speaking of balance, it's represents a balance of healthy masculine and feminine energy together. Here we have the Sun. Open your heart to the enormous growth ahead. Actually, there was the Sun here too, behind the Devil. Your plans will work out well, bringing you happiness and success and prosperity. You'll garner the recognition for your accomplishments that you so richly deserve. It was behind the Devil, but in reverse. That's why I didn't mention it before. And it's the Devil still. Followed by the Chariot. You can successfully balance various or opposing energies at once through determination and focus. You've earned the rewards and recognition that you're receiving. So it's a similar sort of message than we got from the other cards. It's like There is victory and success and movement, and possibly literal moving. There's another Nine of Wands here that wants to happen for you, but it's like you have to let it. You have to stop telling yourself that you're stuck in an energy that won't allow you to have that success, because that's what the devil represents. A false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things, negative or fear-based thoughts. Again, the devil represents the sign of Capricorn most directly. This week, the card that most directly represents us all, our energy, is the Hermit. Hermit is another card. I hate to keep talking about exes returning, but that's what it tends to be about in terms of love and relationship, specifically whether it's upright or in reverse. Of course, in this instance, it is upright. The Hermit is a card that it was about like restoring relationships from the past. Represents the sign of Virgo, again, which is ruled by Mercury, which goes into retrograde in Libra this week. Surrounding energy, close friends, family members, co-workers, Seven of Wands in reverse. Work and finance, Four of Swords, upright. Love and relationship, Nine of Cups, very nice, in reverse. Physical health, Eight of Wands, upright. Spiritual health, the Page of Pentacles in reverse. Overall energy, again, the King of Cups. So starting with the King of Cups, you know, as I already described him, very balanced male and female, and masculine and feminine energy, very positive qualities of both, often an actual person, maybe even more specifically an actual man or male in your life. This would be a very kind and loving person. And if it's not an actual person, or even if it is, the card shows up to let us know that we are supported by the universe, by God, you know, however you want to look at it, in ways that are obvious to us, that are seen, and ways that are unseen when he appears. There's also an element of like pure, true love in your life surrounding you, no matter what your situation is when this card appears. So whether you are married, single, coupled, you know, divorced, separated, widowed, an orphan, have several siblings, but you don't speak or whatever, you're an only child, whatever your situation is, there's still an element somewhere in your life of true, pure love. And this card shows up as a reminder of that, and also reminds us to like nurture ourselves and to allow others to nurture us too. In work, I mean, this is going to be a positive card. It may be representative of one's boss or a co-worker or something, somebody who's very much in your team, who you can ask for support if you need it. You know, they're very much in your corner, or however you want to look at it. And they appreciate and respect you in your work in ways that you may not realize. So, you know, for those who've been feeling like maybe there is nobody at the job that cares or whatever, that is likely not true with the showing up of this card. If things have been difficult at work, they are likely improving now that he has arrived here. A love and relationship, again, super, super positive. There are a few cards that are more loving than the King of Cups. If you're looking for love, it can be someone who is very balanced, you know, and loving headed your way. So not like a toxic situation. And if you're already in some sort of partnership, we can expect that to strengthen. Finances, you may, you know, I'm not going to say just it means great things. It can mean, you know, positive things. But it also sometimes means that we need to like face our finances. Like if you've been avoiding checking your balance or whatever, like you need to know what's going on with your money and with your finances. So it tells us to do that. health and relationship, it tells us or reminds us to trust our healers, trust our doctors. That's why they're in our lives, so that we can go to them when we need medical help, and we should, allow them to do their jobs. And in terms of spirituality, it sort of asks us, or to take a look at, like, how we can be more, how do I describe this? Like, ways that we can be more loving, yet still have, or draw, like, some boundaries, and not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of or walked over like a mat. This card can show up to let us know that it's a good idea for us to maybe, do some meditation and thinking to sort of, I don't want to say it. It's because of the masculine and feminine energy. You got to try to be both at once, in a spiritual way. So yeah, I guess that's the best way. Loving, compassionate, helpful to people, but also still drawing boundaries and not taking crap. So all that in mind, we're going to move on to the Hermit, which again represents the sign of Virgo most directly. And it's a very spiritual card, or considered a very spiritual card in the tarot. For me, the Hermit is sometimes a lawyer or a professor or a teacher of some sort. But the general meaning of the card is that you may need some time alone to get some things figured out. And so it can kind of go along the lines of the spiritual meaning of the King of Cups, like we may need to do some meditation or something. This card is also about trying, like, really hard to do the right thing in different areas of your life. The difficult part is making sure that doing the right thing includes doing what's right for you personally. And that also is very much in line with the King of Cups. And again, in remembering to nurture ourselves while we're nurturing other people, we don't want to hurt ourselves. There's a saying that my mother, I've shared with you some of the things my mother used to say to me. One of the things she used to say to me was, it's like when we do our best to try not to hurt other people, we tend to hurt ourselves. That's not the way she used to say it. And if I remember the other words of it, I as we go along, I don't know why I don't remember it right now, but if I remember it, I will share. But it's basically when we, go about our lives doing things in a way that protects other people from hurt. It's usually not what we would otherwise choose to do, and so we are the ones who are ultimately hurt by it because we're not doing what's best for us in those moments. In terms of work and things, you may be to a point where, like, success and recognition are within your grasp, which goes along with some of the other cards we've seen so far, the Six of Wands, the Chariot. You might be about to be recognized. And the key at work is to not only do the right thing, but do the right thing, even if no one's watching, or you think no one's watching. Love and relationship, as I mentioned, a relationship from your past very possibly will be rekindled, whether you're interested or not. So that may be what you need to go within to figure out if you want that. What else? Finances, good time to be, sort of fiscally conservative, as they say. Not, spending too much, although the die said spend money. So we'll see what else the other cards reveal. But this is not telling you not to spend anything, just telling you to spend wisely. So I guess it still goes along with spend money. And like if you're making investments and stuff, it recommends that you, invest in things that are more conservative, not as risky, And then spirituality, very possible that someone will come into our lives who is like a mentor or a teacher, even if they don't actually teach or teach you directly. You know, it could be somebody from whom you learn something, whether it is, you know, the means of meditation, or it's tarot, or it's working with crystals, or it's prayer, it's intentions, it's whatever. Something that motivates you spiritually. Moving on to surrounding energy, co-workers, family members, close family members, close friends. The Seven of Wands in reverse can be about anxiety. So somebody in one of those areas of your life may be dealing with some kind of anxiety. And sometimes anxiety is like alleviated by taking some sort of action. So it may be that they need to do something, and they could use your help. You know, so maybe you're be in the position to be a teacher or a support or a mentor or something. They could be they could be needing help, like dealing with their feelings, or, you know, looking at the guy with the stick in his hand. I'm thinking more than likely somebody may need help from you in taking some sort of action. They need to do something, but are unable or unwilling, maybe afraid, too proud, too shy. I don't know. I'm getting a few different possibilities. You know, to admit it, and they need help. This is the surrounding energy. Let's go on to work and finance with the Four of Swords. You need a break. You need a break. And that break can be, again, you see this guy, he's got like the praying hands, he's resting. You know, that can be looked at as meditation too. You know, tying our overall energy, the card represents us, all these cards back together. It's like there needs to be some sort of, maybe thought, meditation, a break, a time off to recover, to, you know, get back on your feet, to catch your breath, whatever it is. Restoration, maybe you've been working a lot of hours. I'm not sure what's going on there. It could even mean like you need an actual vacation if you're able to do that. It might feel like things are not, you know, going as you know, would want them to or like them to, but it's not a time to like take this personally or to necessarily even try to push harder. Like sometimes we just need to be patient with the process and to let things go and happen, and to, catch our own breath, you know, give ourselves a break too. That's what this is calling for. So maybe even like a day off, a few hours off. If you're used to working through your lunch, don't do that. Take the actual hour, sit there, think, read a book, talk to a friend. I don't know. But you need, like, it may just even mean like some actual sleep too. Mental rest, just to sit still for a little while. So I'm getting all kinds of things with this too. But it's connected to your work. In terms of finances, you may need to take like a different course of action. If you're behind in some kind of payments or something, you're not sure like where the money's going to come from. You may need to do something different than you normally would. Think things through. It's another reason to think, right? Meditate, work on intention, all that kind of stuff. Ways to bring in extra money. If you have your own business and are owed money, then you need to like get your collection activities together, step them up, you know. If you are waiting for people to pay you on their own accord, it could take like way too long. And maybe you need to give them a friendly reminder, even if these are friends or family members. Maybe that's the action that they need to take, and they need a nudge from you, like, hey, you know, maybe they're nervous about it because they don't have it, but we got to have this conversation. We got to have the talk. When are you going to be able to pay me back my money? Things like that. And this often also if you like can consider a donation, or again being charitable, like the King of Cups with someone else or some kind of, you know, an organization or something like that. That can help too, like to open up the flow of prosperity in your life as well. And, you know, if nothing else, it tends to make people feel good when they can help somebody that has even less resources than them. So that could be something you may want to consider. Love and relationship, Nine of Cups in reverse. So very, very positive omen. The Nine of Cups is about wish fulfillment, prayers being answered, dreams coming true. And so, you know, it's the case in love too. When it's in reverse, it's a little less It's not as powerful as when the card is upright, but it's still good. Existing relationships are very likely to deepen and become a lot more, meaningful and strong and maybe balanced, equitable, reciprocal, all of that. If you're single, you're likely to meet somebody new that you can have like really deep and meaningful conversations and a real relationship with. And this is like within the next few weeks. This is not, way down the line. This is coming up. But you will probably need to be out there mingling and stuff. So moving on to the 8 of Wands and our physical health. This can be about anxiety too, like waiting for test results or some sort of information having to do with a particular health problem or something. And really, again, just it's about thinking positive, taking one day at a time, 1 moment at a time, maybe even a break, sit down, rest, relax yourself, catch your breath. Don't be paranoid. Don't let negative energy slip in because, that can yield negative results. Maybe educate yourself as much as you can. Again, read a book on what you think is maybe going on, and try to be patient and wait. Your healers may have other patients that they're caring for, but you only have yourself, so you can prioritize yourself if you're thinking calm and level-headed and in that kind of way. And then they'll get to you too. The healer will get to you with the information. What could be holding them up is, again, the Mercury retrograde, right? Mercury retrograde causes delays, particularly delays in information, in travel, right? Different things like that. Communication. So, last but not least, moving on to spirituality and the Page of Pentacles. So this can be about kind of like feeling bored, not just spiritually, but like in general, it can be about feeling bored. And in this case, you need to think, do some introspection on ways that, you could start exploring new things, maybe exploring new things spiritually, new methodologies, new practices and things like that. But you got to think about it. What might you be into? What might you be interested in getting into? Maybe, again, this is an opportunity to read a book and learn about something new and then find out whether you have an interest in it or not. Pursue what you do have an interest in. Who, what, when, why. Can you learn from someone or somebody else, and all that sort of thing. Let's clarify these a little bit further with our other cards now. Okay. So, joining the Hermit, we have another 9 of Cups. So we may have prayed for a relationship to be rekindled, for somebody to return to our life. We may have prayed for a mentor or some sort of support, a teacher, or for somebody to allow us to be that support system for them. And we might be finally getting those things that we asked for. Now is the time your dreams come true. Don't worry about how this will happen. Just give gratitude to God for all that you have and all that's still to come. Also, for some, they could have to do with a legal matter or actual schooling. As I mentioned, sometimes for me, this is a professor, this is a lawyer. And so you may have wished on a star for something having to do with one of those fields or areas as well. Surrounding energy, joining the 7 of Wands in reverse, we have the Queen of Wands. She is talented, brilliant, independent, and charming. Don't underestimate your ability to manifest your dreams. You may have several priorities vying for your attention at once, but you can do it. Queen of Wands is possibly an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. And so this is about confidence versus anxiety, right? This is about you realizing that there's no need for you to be afraid, that you have what it takes to take whatever kind of action. And then again, this could be somebody in your surrounding energy and they have what it takes to take action. Especially if they have you by their side. The Queen of Wands can be representative of again, somebody that solidly sort of has your back, if you need them. Moving on to work and finance, we have the Page of Cups. Sensitive, kind, open-hearted, and inexperienced. You can expect to kindle a new romantic relationship or a close platonic friendship. You may suddenly receive an emotional message from someone or be invited to a social event. The Page of Cups, with regard to love, with regard to work rather, and finance, can have to do with us sort of feeling underappreciated, but that not really being the case, as I also mentioned with the King. And also, like the King, the Page is possibly an actual person in your life, a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. In terms of love and relationship, we have the 10 of Wands. Too much work. Accept help from others. Life is out of balance, and that can cause stress-related health concerns. Well, that sort of thing is coming to an end, because what we've prayed for, a better energy, a more balanced energy, is what is coming in. Physical health. Joining the 8 of Wands, we have the Page of Wands. Outgoing, creative, confident, and mischievous. News of an exciting new endeavor. Use your originality and ingenuity. The Page of Wands is an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes if they're an actual person in your life that could be involved in something having to do with your physical health. Or, in terms of physical health specifically, the Page of Wands points to a need for taking action again. So whether this is for ourselves or to help somebody close to us in our surrounding energy, or both, right? Maybe we can work out together and two people's issues or problems or needs can be fulfilled at once. You know, what kind of action do we need to take? Do we need more exercise? Do we need to be drinking more water? Some sort of effort that we need to put in to improve our own health situation. Do we need a nutritionist or a nutritional education to make sure that we're eating better? You know, all of these sorts of things. And this tells us that there are resources available. So again, if your doctor's not available, your healer's not available because they've got other patients, you've got you to look after while you're waiting for them to get to you. How can we be proactive? What kind of action can we take to help ourselves and nurture ourselves in the meantime? And physical health, the King of Swords. He is brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic. Speak your mind with confidence. Seek out professional advice and balance mental and emotional considerations. So that could be pretty straightforward in terms of our boredom with regard to our spirituality or any other areas of our life. Maybe we need to seek out professional advice, a spiritual, a healer, a mentor, guru. I mean, I don't really, I'm not a fan of like that word or the types of people that it tends to represent, but, you may be, and maybe you want to get into something having to do with that, or, some sort of spiritual leader, there's all different kinds. There's all different kinds. And that may be what you need to do. Go to an actual, professional. The King of Swords could be here representing Mercury, right? And the Mercury Retrograde. Or is possibly a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes in your life. Or, in terms of spirituality specifically, the King of Swords lets us know that in order for us to feel like connected to a set of spiritual beliefs, they have to make sense to us. And this is very, very air sign. This is very, very like Gemini. If something doesn't make sense, then we sort of get lost and we don't know what to do. Like we can't process it. It's all about that logic. And if we can't find logic within it, it's like we want to be away from it. That's what the King of Swords means in this placement. Like, you can deepen your spiritual awareness and practice by actively seeking out new sources of information and insight. And maybe that's why I keep saying, like, read a book or something. Try something new. And maybe even get your own, like, personal oracle reading. Not necessarily for me, but of course I do them privately for people. But maybe you get one, or maybe you look into cards yourself, or again, stones, or there's so many different things. you know, if you want to look into voodoo or hoodoo or being a witch or Yoruba practices or Santeria. Or, I mean, there's so many different things, different ways to explore one's spirituality, and it's a personal thing. So, you know, it's kind of difficult for me to describe, but I hope that I'm giving you ideas, and if something resonates with you, you'll know how to further pursue whatever that is. And for our other clarifications from the fortune reading cards deck, from joining the Nine of Cups and the Hermit, we have plane. A journey is indicated, either physically or metaphorically, and your life will become more full. So this is movement, this is growth, and for some could involve physical travel or maybe a spiritual journey of some sort. Because again, the Hermit is a very spiritual card. And it has to do with exes. It can be something like a soulmate returning, a twin flame. That would certainly be a spiritual journey. Surrounding energy, joining the Queen of Wands and the Seven of Wands, we have mountain. Know that you are protected as you face challenges, but remain cautious. In work and finance, joining the Page of Cups and the Four of Swords. We have thorns. Weathering the challenges ahead will bring in a new and positive future. And that can be true even of the things that I said we need to do, like paying attention to your bank statement and all of that, like figuring out how much you have, how much you need, or maybe how much you don't need, and more pleasantly, like, oh, I have more money than I realized. But like, it's about knowing like where you are and from where you need to start in order to, you know, tackle or not tackle whatever it is you need to do in your financial life. And love and relationship, joining the Ten of Wands and the Nine of Cups, the other Nine of Cups that we have. We have the Chariot. Charge ahead with confidence. Stay strong and focus toward a much more balanced energy and relationship or situation. And spiritual health, joining the Eight of Wands and the Page of Wands. We have marriage. So I think this is about, again, marriage, that like in terms of bringing two things together. Maybe you're working on your health in combination, in tandem with a healer or a doctor working on your health. So the marriage of those two things, you're attracting emotional fulfillment and unconditional love. So also nurturing yourself, and again, maybe having somebody to help you, remember the facilitator, to nurture yourself, and maybe you nurturing each other or helping each other to do it. And maybe actual love and relationship, a bond forms through that too. That's possible also. And spiritual health. We have angel. This is perfect for spiritual health. Your angels are guiding and protecting you on your spiritual journey. And this card fell out actually as I was shuffling on my own before I started the camera. And I like how we ended on spiritual journey after we started with a card that said a journey is indicated, and I said it may be referring to a spiritual journey. And so this sort of like answers the question, yep, it is, and we close on that. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this reading. Please do like, share, subscribe, and comment. If you're interested in hearing what else I have to say about what else may be going on this week, please do stick around. I'm going to pick up my laptop in a second. And by in a second, I mean right now. Okay, it's on my lap. I just pressed the power button. That was me signing in. And let's going to take a look at the Christian calendar. And this week, on the 29th, we actually have one of my favorite celebrations on the Christian calendar, Michaelmas, which is the feast day of the celebration of the archangels Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. So, of course, Michael may be why all the fire showed up, the Page of Wands, the Queen of Wands, the Eight of Wands, the Seven of Wands. It's that action, aggression. Actually, wand or Mars, which is tied to him, is located in Libra, where Mercury is and will be retrograde. So that may be, one of the messages that was trying to come through as a reminder. Also, all the talk about healing and then maybe helping others to heal, and even the Hermit is very Raphael. And then in terms of information coming in, we had over here, we talked about information coming in with the King of Swords. That's Gabriel stuff. So I think they were trying to show up in the reading too. Yeah, it's one of my favorite feast days, so we'll talk about what that is. And then on October 2nd, as I mentioned, Saturday, the last day for which this reading is, it is Guardian Angels Day. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. Starting first with Michaelmas from Franciscan Media, www.franciscanmedia.org. Saints Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. Angels, messengers from God, appear frequently in Scripture, but only Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael are named. That is true, and only Michael is referred to as not only an archangel, but the archangel. He's the only one that's called an archangel in the Scriptures. Anyway, Michael appears in Daniel's vision as the great prince who defends Israel against its enemies. In the book of Revelation, he leads God's armies to final victory over the forces of evil. Yeah, Michael's name means he who is like God. And to me, his name means he who is like God because he's he who is God, at a different vibration. And so that would be why he is referred to as the prince, similar to Jesus. Devotion to Michael is the oldest angelic devotion, rising in the East in the 4th century. And Michael's number is actually 4 too. 4 and represents archangels in general, but also it's also specific to Michael. The church in the West began to observe a feast honoring Michael and the angels in the 5th century. Gabriel also makes an appearance in Daniel's visions, announcing Michael's role in God's plan. His best known appearance, though, is as an encounter with a young Jewish girl named Mary who consents to bear the Messiah. Raphael's activity is confined to the Old Testament and the story of Tobit. There, he appears to guide Tobit's son, Tobiah, through a series of fantastic adventures which lead to a threefold happy ending: Tobias's marriage to Sarah, the healing of Tobit's blindness, and the restoration of the family fortune. And isn't it interesting that we had that rest and restoration card, the 4 of Swords, sitting here above work and finance? I'm talking about fortune, the restoration of a fortune. So that can be another message for us too. That may be what that 4 of Swords is about. Restoration of our finances to a better situation. The memorials of Gabriel and Raphael were added to the Roman calendar in 1921. The 1970 revision of the calendar joined their individual feasts with Michael's. Each of the archangels performs a different mission in Scripture. Michael protects, Gabriel announces, Raphael guides. Earlier belief that inexplicable events were due to the actions of spiritual beings has given way to a scientific worldview and a different sense of cause and effect. Yet, believers still experience God's protection, communication, and guidance in ways which defy description. We cannot dismiss angels too lightly. I don't dismiss angels at all. Saints Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael are the patron saints of death, Germany, grocers, police officers, and first responders. We're actually participating this week in a walk/run, 5K walk/run, in honor of the firefighter that ran in his full gear from Red Hook, Brooklyn to the Twin Towers on 9/11 and lost his life in the towers. There's this Tunnel to Towers run that my family and friends are participating in. And it supports first responders and stuff. Anyway, radiologists also. And St. Gabriel specifically on its own is the patron saint of broadcasters and communicators. And St. Raphael is the patron saint of the blind and travelers. So travel again and movement showing up a lot. We had 2 chariot cards. We have this plane card. We have the 4 of swords, which can be about travel too, or planning a trip. It's very interesting. Moving on to the Feast of the Guardian Angels, also from franciscanmedia.org. Perhaps no aspect of Catholic piety is as conforming to parents as the belief that angels protect their little ones from dangers, real and imagined. Yet guardian angels are not only for children, and they're not only for Catholics either. Their role is to represent individuals before God, to watch over them always, to aid their prayer, and to present their souls to God at death. The concept of an angel assigned to guide and nurture each human being is a development of Catholic doctrine and piety based on Scripture, but not directly drawn from it. Jesus' words in Matthew 18:10 best support the belief. Quote, "See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I say to you that their angels in heaven always look upon the face of my heavenly Father." End quote. Devotion to the angels began to develop with the birth of the monastic tradition. Saint Benedict, so as in monks and whatnot. Yeah, monks. Saint Benedict gave it impetus, and Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, the great 12th century reformer, was such an eloquent spokesman for the guardian angels that angelic devotion assumed its current form in his day. A feast in honor of the guardian angels was first observed in the 16th century. So, 16, 1 and 6 equals 7 equals divinity or God. In the year 1615, which of course is 7 and 6 or 13 or 4 or 11, 11, Pope Paul V added to it and added it to the Roman calendar. Devotion to the angels is at base an expression of faith in God's enduring love and providential care extended to each person day in and day out. Moving on to the Jewish or Hebrew calendar. Also on the 29th, we have the last day of Sukkot. I explained what Sukkot was last week. And the day prior to that, on the 28th, we have Shemini Atzeret or Simchat Torah, which would begin on the 28th. I've explained before how Hebrew and also Islamic holidays or feast days tend to begin at sundown the day prior and end the next day. So we will go into www.shabbat.org to read a little bit about Shemini Atzeret, or again, Simchat Torah. What is Shemini Atzeret, Simchat Torah? It starts in the evening on September 27th and concludes after nightfall on September 29th. The holiday of Sukkot is followed by an independent holiday called Shemini Atzeret. In Israel, this is a one-day holiday. In the diaspora, it is a 2-day holiday, and the second day is known as Simchat Torah. This holiday is characterized by utterly unbridled joy, which reaches its climax on Simchat Torah. When we celebrate the conclusion and restart of the annual Torah reading cycle, maybe that's why I kept bringing up reading too. I don't know. These 2 days, however, constitute a major holiday, Yom Tov, when most forms of work are prohibited. So again, taking a break from work this week, right? Work prohibited on those 2 days in Hebrew tradition. On the preceding nights, women and girls light candles, reciting the appropriate blessings, and we enjoy nightly and daily festive meals accompanied by Kiddush. We don't go to work, we don't drive, write, or switch on and off electric devices. We are permitted to cook and to carry outdoors, unless it is also Shabbat. So if this holiday, feast day, were to fall on a Saturday, when it is the Sabbath, or Friday night into Saturday, when there's the Sabbath, then they would not be permitted to cook or to go outside on this feast day. The first day, Shemini Atzeret, features the prayer for rain, officially commemorating the start of the Mediterranean rainy season, and the Yizkor prayer, which is supplicating God to remember the souls of the departed. So it's a prayer for the dead. We no longer take the four kinds, and we no longer mention Sukkot in the day's prayers. In the diaspora, however, so that means that that's what they do in Israel. And then outside, other Jews all over the world may still eat in the sukkah or the tent, but without reciting the blessings over it. And it goes on to further explain what it is to experience Simchat Torah. If you want to read for yourself, again, I got it from www.shabbat.org, but I'm going to move on to the planetary calendar for the week. And again, on the 27th, we have an event at 1:10 a.m. Mercury goes retrograde, 25 degrees Libra. Also on the 27th at 8:54 a.m., Neptune will be quintile the true node. So that's Neptune, Pisces, like square Gemini, basically. 21 degrees Pisces, 3 degrees Gemini. Then on the 28th at 9:57 p.m., we'll experience the last quarter moon, 6 degrees Cancer. On October 1st at 10:19 p.m. or 11:119, Neptune again will be quintile the true node, 21 degrees Pisces, 3 degrees Gemini. And that is it for the week. So what do we want to talk about from that group? We want to talk about Mercury retrograde in Libra. And for that, I've gone to www.tarot.com. It might feel like your love life has gone haywire when the planet that rules communication, perception, and thought retrogrades through relationship-oriented Libra. Mercury retrograde in this sign can feel a bit like a not-so-welcome blast from the past, because this energy likes to stir up drama, causing old relationship issues to reappear. If we've had any resentments in the love department, this is the time when they could come spilling out. This is an especially tough time since it might feel like we aren't even speaking the same language as the people we're normally in sync with. Miscommunication can easily happen, and our patience may wear thin. It's best to take a deep breath and to try to decipher what others are really trying to say during this Mercury retrograde. So really like going out of your way to try to pay attention to somebody else's perspective and understand it before popping off. It's what this is talking about. All right. It goes on to talk about if you were born with Mercury in Libra in your own chart. So again, if you want to check it out for yourself, I got it from www.tarot.com. And I also had looked to verify some of the things that I thought I knew. And I did turn out to be right. But for that, I went to elitedaily.com, and it talks about Aries, Gemini, Virgo, and Libra. The signs that I thought would be most affected are indeed the signs that will be the most affected. Aries, your relationship may feel more confusing than usual. If you feel as though you're at odds with people that you should be getting along with, you have every right to blame Mercury retrograde. After all, this retrograde could disrupt the harmony that you're used to experiencing in your relationships, and it could challenge your interpersonal skills. Although this retrograde may be creating conflict, it also is giving you a chance to remember how to solve it. Sometimes solving conflict brings you even closer to people. Gemini, you may struggle to connect with your vision of fun and romance. If it feels like things just aren't as fun as usual, this retrograde might have something to do with it. This particular Mercury retrograde could disrupt your usual connection with your creativity, challenging you to find new ways to get the color, music, and energy flowing. Look at every setback like a new opportunity. Mercury is your ruling planet, and this retrograde affects you more than most. So prepare for it to feel just as weird as it always does. Virgo, you may experience some challenges regarding your finances. Complications surrounding your piggy bank may arise during this retrograde. Because Mercury retrograde is your ruling planet, because Mercury is your ruling planet, rather, you may feel this complication quite deeply. Decisions that you've been making with your money may not turn out to be as wise as you once thought. Maybe that's why we got the message to be like somewhat conservative. This is not the best time to make major financial decisions. However, it is the perfect time to rethink your relationship with money and how to use it. So we still are allowed to spend money. We still should be thinking, as I said, thinking about something having to do with money and our finances and getting something figured out. That's what that Four of Swords was telling us too. And that's going to help us to use it more wisely and effectively. And last but not least, Libra. Unresolved issues from your past may come back to haunt you. This Mercury retrograde has the power to challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself. Just because the past is in the past doesn't mean it doesn't have the power to affect your present. During this retrograde, your past self may come back to haunt you, revealing unfinished business and unresolved conflicts that still require your attention. Let go of these burdens because your future belongs to you. Hope you guys have enjoyed the reading. Please do like, share, subscribe, and comment. I will be back with love. Namaste.